One of the questions I've gotten quite a bit is how in the world do I replace corn on the keto diet? Now I have a cornbread recipe that's absolutely phenomenal. In fact, we'll see that a little bit later in this video. But one of the hardest things for me to come up with was a suitable replacement for corn. But I have found a great solution to that problem. So I'm going to show you what to use, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite recipes of all time, a corn chowder, only with about 1/5 the amount of carbs as a regular corn chowder. So today on Southern Keto, I'm just hoping this video is not too corny, but I'm going to show you exactly what to do to replace corn in your favorite recipes. Stick around. Well, let's go ahead and start this corn chowder. The first thing you're going to need is 1 pound of bacon. And all I'm going to do with this, real simple, I'm going to take this bacon out of the pack. And I've got this burner on a medium heat now with this Dutch oven. You can use whatever kind of pot you want, but I love the size of this. I love how it retains the heat and it's even cooking all the time. So I'm just going to take this bacon and just cut it into, this is probably less than 1/2 inch squares here. And I'm going down into this. This is the base of our flavor. This is where that layers of flavor thing comes in. This is the first layer, and we're just gonna keep adding to it. This is one of my favorite recipes. I hope it's gonna be one of your favorite too. And you know, if you get that paper on the back of your bacon, make sure you take that off because you don't want any extra fiber in there from some wood pulp. But this is the bacon from Aldi. They don't mess around with all that paper and stuff. They just give you the good bacon that gets real nice and crispy. And, you know, if you drop some in as huge pieces, just fish it out and keep on going. And then while this bacon is rendering down, I'm just going to chop up a couple pretty large Vidalia onions here. And I'm just going to kind of chop them into rough dice. And you can use my dicer too. I'll put a link to that thing down below if you want the exact same size pieces. If not, just a nice rough chop. This is a nice rustic soup, chowder, whatever you want to call it. Just give your bacon a nice stir every once in a while. Try to get these pieces kind of separated out a little bit. You know, you could be all fancy and separate it, but why? You start cooking this down, it's going to separate on its own, so why put in the extra effort? And now a good corn chowder is going to have potatoes. Of course, we can't do potatoes, so I'm going to use these fresh radishes instead. Now, I've shown you this on my mashed potato video before, how I use these to substitute for mashed potatoes. Some people like using turnips. There's all kind of things you can add to make it lower carb. But I just love the radishes. I feel like they take on a lot of flavor. And so that's what I'm gonna use. So I'm just gonna prepare those while we're waiting on this bacon to cook down too. So all I do on these is if it has a stem, cut the stem off, cut the stalk off, throw those on the side, cut them in half again. So now I've got all these radishes cut up to the size that I want. So I'm just gonna bowl them over here on the side. And so those are ready to go in. Now we gotta prepare our corn. And what are we gonna use for our corn? We're using corn, but we're using baby corn. Now I want you to look at this. For this whole container, you've got 12 grams of carbs, minus 4 grams of fiber. So this entire can of baby corn is 8 grams of net carbs. And we're gonna use 3 of these cans, so it is important, if you're watching your macros real close, to count it up and make sure you're where you need to be, but I'm just telling you, this is a whole lot lower carb option than your regular corn. But let me show you how to fix these baby corn. So I'm just gonna open this can up, I'm gonna leave the lid on it, and I'm gonna take this over and drain it. And just give it a little squeeze too, because there's a lot of liquid in there. Now I'm just gonna dump them right out on my cutting board like that. Now this is the cut baby corn. There's also the whole baby corn, so whichever you want will be fine. This is already cut into little pieces like this, but I'm gonna cut it even more to make it look a little more corny. Or if you're feeling really fancy, you could go in and just cut each tiny little kernel off. So what is baby corn exactly? Is it like a McRib where they take rib meat and put it in a little mold and make some kind of weird variation on the original? No, this is actually corn. The reason it doesn't have any carbs in it is it's really young, hasn't had a chance to develop any of those starches and sugars yet. or very few of them. And so it's a great low-carb option to replace corn with. And look, if you want it to look more like corn, if you're trying to fool somebody, just cut it straight down the middle like that. You can almost cut it off like little kernels. Cut it up here, and that almost looks like corn. Now this bacon's browning up pretty good, and if you'll look right in the middle there, see all those little brown bits right there, almost look burned? Well listen, that is some flavor, and we're gonna take that up in a little bit. But first I'm gonna go ahead and dump these onions in, and we'll start cooking those down in with this bacon. So this is the difference in the whole baby corn and the cut baby corn. So you just use whichever one you like. I kind of like the whole ones because you can just kind of cut it in half and then roll all the way down through there like that and chop it into like little kernels. Now I'm gonna go ahead while this is cooking down and put in a heaping teaspoon of celery salt, just to help this out a little bit. And I'm gonna go in with half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, not rounded because I'm going to add a little bit more spice in a little bit. Oh man, look at that. I just like to go in every once in a while, scrape up those bits, and they're not all gonna come up right now, but I'll show you what to do with that in just a minute. So this is cooking up really nice here. These onions are translucent. This bacon's pretty much browned up. So I'm gonna go in with about 1 million cloves of garlic here. Probably more like 2 teaspoons, but I'm gonna do a little extra because you know around here ain't no vampires welcome. So I'm just gonna quickly give that a stir. I'm gonna throw in 2 bay leaves. And bay leaves are a good digestive aid too. You just wanna make sure that before you serve this, you fish these bay leaves out. And I'm gonna tell you, these Walmart bay leaves are not the best quality, but hey, what you gonna do? They're cheap. I'm gonna go in with another little small one because they ain't hitting on much. And then I'm gonna kind of move this to the side just a little bit. I'm gonna throw in this baby corn. And of course I had to use Old Yeller in the making of this video. And Old Yeller knows there ain't no corn allowed in this kitchen, so he had to check out this baby corn to make sure it was okay. And it got the Old Yeller blue ribbon of approval. Now I've got a quart of water here, and I've got some of this bone broth concentrate. Now, there's other ways to do it. There's packets of this, or you can just buy bone broth if you want to. But I'm gonna go in with a good bit of this. It's gonna add a lot of flavor to it. That was probably a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more. And I'm just gonna give that a good stir. Just kind of another layer of flavor there. If I didn't know better, I'd swear it was sweet tea. So that's cooking down pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the radishes in there too. And then you know how we do, stir it up.
Stir it up, little darling, stir it up.
And if you saw my mashed potato video, you'll know that if you don't want the red look of these radishes, you can always peel them. But I can tell you right now, that was the first and last time that I'm peeling radishes to make them look like taters. I just tell people, hey, it's red taters. And while this is cooking down, I'm gonna take some of this cornbread extract, about a teaspoon of it. I'm just gonna put it all through here and stir it up really, really well to make sure we get some good corn flavor in there. Oh yeah, that smells like some corn there. And I'll put links to everything I use down below in the description if you need to pick up some of these things. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little bit of salt and pepper here, just to help bring out some of those liquids and start a different layer of flavor. And why not? I'll go ahead and add some of my all-purpose seasoning too. Oh man, this is smelling good in here. I wish you could smell it. So I've worked that around for a couple minutes, and what I'm gonna do is just push this back just a little bit, and I'm gonna throw in just a tad of that bone broth and just use it to deglaze the bottom and scrape up all those nice little bits. If you smell a burn smell, don't do this. Then your whole chowder is just gonna taste like a burned up old mess. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in, and I'm gonna go refill this one more time with some more bone broth and pour it in. So you're gonna need 8 cups in all, or 2 quarts. Or if you wanna know how much it weighs by weight, then Google it. Go ahead and add it in. Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna give this a stir, turn it up on high, and bring it up to a boil. So I brought this up to a boil. It's been simmering for about 30 minutes. And I know all the pearl clutchers are already running amok down in the comments because, oh, he's using corn. Hey, guess what? Here's a little bit more for your carby pleasure. Now it's not much, but just a little bit, just to satisfy your itch. I'm going in with 2 cups of heavy cream. And if you don't want to waste it, put a little water in here, swish it around, throw that in the mix too. You know how precise I am with all this stuff. Then just give it a nice mix. And now's the time you want to taste it for seasoning. Let me give this a try here. Oh man, that underlying bacon flavor in there, it's got a little smokiness in it, the little backbone of spice. These flavors are absolutely delicious. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt, and I'm gonna show you how I like to serve it. There is the corn chowder. Now I like to finish this up with a little piece of cornbread. And you can garnish it with a little bit of green onion if you want to. And if you want a little bit of extra spice, just a little bit of crushed red pepper on top. And that's how we do it. If you love keto comfort food, make sure you watch this video right here. It's got 10 different things that you may want to make. And if you want probably my all-time favorite soup that I make sure you watch this video right here.